Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, some of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Kun. Hey, Matt. Nani ga suki?
好きこと知らないでも、この朝が本当に嫌い。
何ですか？
I'm dying.
Rakush-kun.
はいはい。元気ですか？
Nani ga suki?
自分。
Julian-kun.
Hi.
Guys, I know I'm like 3 weeks, no, even more than 3 weeks, like, behind, but Matt,
Uh-huh.
I fucking love that meme.
You're not gonna know anything what you're talking about.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Julian, are we the only brain rotten ones right now?
Yeah, we might be the only brain rotted ones on here.
Ah, man.
Okay, what
It's
is this
like-
mean? Talk to us.
What's your favorite flavor? So it's like chocolate something, but I like
Yeah,
you more.
Choco Minto.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know that, the ice cream thing?
No, all I
No.
said
Okay,
was the soul. So my favorite flavor is the soul. Apparently I'm Shang Tsung.
You said self, didn't you? I thought
Jibun is like soul.
I thought Tamashi is soul.
Oh, alright, I'll trust you. Rakush flavored ice cream.
Man, for an anime, manga, weeb adjacent podcast, Julian, I feel bad. I feel real bad right now.
Is it an anime adjacent thing or a TikTok adjacent thing? Because I've only seen it on TikTok.
I don't even know.
So
I mean,
if y'all aren't
sure,
on
it's called The
TikTok, you
Mistakes,
might
though.
not be.
The boys, welcome again to the Mistake Zone, our audio diary of mistakes. And I think we have another full house, another beefy boy episode. But to kind of hide my shame just a bit, a new film came out, I believe it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago by the time our friends hear this. But boys, Sinners, the new Michael B. Jordan movie in
Jared-
theaters now.
Jared, you missed
What's
a
up?
perfect opportunity to hit that with a Miku who can't sing instead.
I don't know. I'm still reeling, Rakush, from the introduction, but I know Rakush, Julian, you both have seen the movie. I think we'll also try to see if this is something that may be up Matt's alley as well. But Rakush,
Yeah.
I think immediately after I finished the film, messaged you right away. But just a few days after you've seen it as well, what are your initial thoughts on the movie Sinners?
I mean, probably one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm not sure what kind of movie would kind of bounce it off of like the top.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was that fun, it was that entertaining, it was that good. The casting was phenomenal. The music was, I mean, we'll talk more about that, but like everything about it was great. Not a perfect movie, but movies like this don't need to be perfect. They just need to be fully entertaining, and I think it was fully entertaining.
Okay. Julian, same question. I think you saw it the most recent of the three
Yeah,
of
I saw it
us,
last
but since
night.
it's still really fresh in your mind, what were your thoughts walking out of the theater?
I thought it was fucking phenomenal, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm like hesitant to say it, but like I kind of want to. That I think not only is it one of my favorite films of this year, I think it might just be in like that pantheon of my favorite films, like period.
Mhm.
There's so much to it, and it's I know it's not really conducive to conversations when you say like I can't really talk much about it because it's better to kind of go in not really knowing anything about it or not having like any preconceived notions or expectations, because there are a lot of like turns that I think really work extremely well. But I will say that I saw it in IMAX and stuff, and I think like a lot of movies will try to argue that like you have to see it in IMAX, and I never really bought into that for many movies. But I think there's one of those rare cases where I feel like IMAX kind of adds to it, because they do play around a lot with like the aspect ratio that you can only really get on IMAX, as well as a lot of the like the sound they play around with a lot with the sound. I noticed like while I was watching it, where they're kind of playing around with like just the general soundtrack, but also kind of like the diegetic soundtrack of like what's happening in the scene, kind of like slowly feeding into like the thematic of what's happening around the movie. And I know I have to be like pretty vague because at this end of the day I don't want to like spoil too much of it, but just what a phenomenal movie personally. And any complaints I would have would just kind of be nitpicking. And like Rakush said, like, you know, it's not perfect, but I think it is to the point where whatever qualms I have with it, I can kind of overlook because of the overall package personally.
I think we can also probably at least explain a little bit of what the genre of the movie is, right, guys?
But I think, okay.
I think,
Yeah, I have no idea what at all
Yeah.
this movie is.
I'm trying to consider how, like, if you're trying to sell this to Matt, right? Like, how would you explain this movie to him without spoiling it?
Yeah, because I legit, you guys haven't said anything at all about like anything on like, I don't know, the plot of this movie. So
I think it's difficult just because I personally went into the movie without knowing a lot about it. I think I've seen a trailer here and there before some of the films I've watched over the last year, but at the same time, it's one of those nothing was in, you know, my forethoughts. I just didn't know, like walking into the theater, I didn't know anything about the movie. So I found myself being pleasantly surprised by, I don't know, one, it's 2.5 hours, and I feel like it's paced really
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
It's an easy watch that the time just flew by.
Yeah.
I think what I would say to try to sell Matt on it, one, really, I don't know. I think this is going to be unfair, but I think Michael B. Jordan really surprised me as well throughout the movie, and just how much music just has to do with the overall plot, the overall themes, and I think that's such a big selling point to me. There's one scene in particular that the moment I've confirmed if someone has watched the movie, I'll immediately start gushing over this one music scene. I think it's around the middle point of the movie
Yeah.
where I've seen the movie, I think a week ago now. I think about that scene every day. Like not trying to be like hyperbolic, but that's how much I literally got goosebumps watching the music scene in the middle of the movie, and I was just kind of, it was just an impressive spectacle as well. And I know Julian was hyping up that, you know, just watching it in IMAX. So I have to ask you two, were you guys able to see it in the 70 millimeter version?
No, unfortunately. That is, for anybody listening, like, that is how the director Ryan Coogler intends for the movie to be watched. He wants everybody to watch it in 70mm. It's just in very limited screens. So I didn't have a chance to watch it there, but I did watch it in IMAX. So a lot of what Julian was saying made sense there. I want to take like a stab at trying to explain it to Matt. If you guys feel like it's too spoilerish,
I mean, I've just
We'll
been
remove
watching
it.
like a trailer while you guys have
see,
been
don't
talking.
watch
Yeah,
the
for
trailer
sure.
because that ruins the entire
The
movie.
trailer
Honestly,
kind of
I'm a little
spoils,
bit.
yeah.
I am extremely envious of Jaren for not knowing what happens with the movie. It is a horror movie that is like, I would say it's like a music slash horror slash like folk story movie. It's set in 1930s, post-war, and it's taking a look at a small town, I believe, in the Mississippi, or somewhere close to Chicago. And yeah, it's just kind of about like this one night where, like, you know, a group of people are getting together to have a party, but things start to go south. That's really it. Like, you know, that's all we, like, without spoiling it, I think that's probably setting up the premise enough. And it's like a very classic premise from like 80s horror movies, right? Where it's like a lot of things happen in one night and things go very south. Like, that is just a very tried and true formula for the genre of movies, but it's how it kind of merges the music, the time period, the actual, like, you know, slasher flick element to it, like the jump scares. Like, that's what makes it really strong for me personally.
I know with a few of my friends, no surprise to you guys, but some of my other friends also babies when it comes to horror. And a few of them have asked, you know, straight up, be real with me, how many jump scares are in this movie? And while I think there are maybe one or two, I believe, but I think the film's so strong where even if you are a baby when it comes to horror, I completely forget if there are any jump scares because that's how strong I just feel like the overall story is. And in terms of, so the movie does have a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. I think the mid-credit scene that serves as an epilogue to the whole movie is one of probably the most satisfying
Yeah.
ones I've seen.
Hmm.
I don't know. It just I felt like it was such a satisfying conclusion. I really liked. I know, sure, there's some things that my partner and I were kind of nitpicking about it, but as Julian and as Rakush said, those are all just nitpicks. It's just a really solid movie. I think the cast portrayed their characters perfectly for the most part. And then yeah, as Rakush said, even though it's a play at horror, even though you do have some campy elements as well, I think just as a whole, can't stress it enough that I recommend this movie. But yeah, Rakush, any other thoughts on Sinners?
Um, a lot. But I'm trying not to get into the spoilery stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
kind of
think,
where I'm sitting, honestly.
yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe we can do like a separate episode that's just a spoiler cast, but like
Mhm.
I'll try to kind of talk around the epilogue a little bit. Like before the epilogue, the movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. Still was satisfying. The epilogue to me is what makes this one of my favorite movies of the year. And I think like it's just kind of like how it connects it to certain characters, certain inspirations, let's say, that like it really just kind of stuck out to me as like this is phenomenal. And like the way they handled it just was it really solidified itself as a love letter not just to the horror genre but also to like classic blues music as well, and like the blues musicians from the 1900, like from the 30s onwards to like the 60s, the 70s, like there's like decades worth of musicians that it really just kind of like is a solid love letter to a lot of sort of like the storytelling that those guys used to do. So yeah, absolutely love it.
Julian, final thoughts or final initial thoughts at least for Sinners.
I mean, again, just try not to spoil it. And I was gonna hold my tongue a bit, but kind of Rakush mentioned the genre itself, and it kind of masterfully does that idea of, yeah, a lot of people talk about when it comes to horror movies. A lot of horror movies, when it comes down to it, is reflective of thematic ideas that are present in real life and stuff. And I think it kind of, it really, it does that. It does it really well. And I nothing but good things to say. And that all I can really say without digging too deep into it. But I
No,
definitely
if you guys
see
want to
it.
talk spoilers, you guys can talk spoilers. Don't stop on my account.
It's
Like-
not just your account. It's like if someone's watching it or listening to us in this episode as well, like I actually want to encourage people to go watch it and experience it
Especially,
themselves.
we really gotta, I think, really gotta support like original movies at this point,
Big time.
because there's so
Big time.
many that are coming out this year that aren't doing well in the box office, and this is one that is really easy to kind of point to for people and be like, hey, like, check this out, please.
Mhm. Yeah, like we
Yeah.
talk about original ideas. We talk about like you were explaining like how the IMAX really enhances just the sound design, right?
Yeah.
Like these things matter, right? And so like you can experience that at home, sure. Like, you can have your headphones on, you can simulate the 5.1 sound effect, the 7.1 I think for IMAX. But like it's just a different experience in the theater.
It's like a very specific one that is
Mhm.
like, I guess, timed, right? Because at some point they're gonna take it off IMAX screens, and then you're not gonna kind of have that experience.
Yeah.
So while that experience is something you can have right now, like, I would definitely encourage people to do so.
Yeah, and I guess just finally, it's kind of a shame that the 70 version is, I believe, only playing in one place in
Mhm.
Canada. I think that's the Vaughan location.
Dang, maybe I should
and
go,
know
man.
Honestly, if you're going, let me know, just because I've been debating if I want to see, like, I wouldn't mind seeing this movie again, especially uh, that version. I'm a bit bummed because I believe when it did release in Vaughan, I think if you went to one of the first few screenings, you got like a piece of the film reel or
Damn,
something.
that's
which I thought
What?
was, like,
That's so cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
see what you're saying. Actually, Sorry, the film strip giveaway only started like a couple of days ago as of this recording.
I'm really curious if there's any left. Same with when the Miku movie eventually, has their limited run in a few weeks, how many people will just like double dip on codes? Because from my experience, whenever theaters do at least an anime giveaway, people really double dip, and the theater people don't really care. But real quick, now that I opened the anime floodgates, I mentioned it last week, but Rakush, I really wanted to get your thoughts. You took the time to watch a Blue Giant.
The very next day.
Rakush, what did you think?
Phenomenal movie. Honestly, Jaren, recommend more movies because I feel like you have a really good taste in those. No, amazing through and through. I think it also kind of helped that when it started, it was right outside the Sendai train station, which again ties into like the theme of like remembering the trip to Japan and all that stuff. So like it was really neat to start there. But I think what I really like about any movies, TV shows, anything that focuses on music, to actually focus on the music and not just the characters. This movie does it like through and through. So Blue Giant, it's about a group of teenagers that are basically like growing in the jazz scene in Tokyo. And the main character, or well, they're all three of them are kind of main characters, but like the poster child basically is like this prodigy of a saxophone player, and it's just about like how he grows and like how like he kind of like helps his like partners and his friends grow as well in a way, right? So like it was really well done. The music is phenomenal. I think like the way the visuals kind of tied into how listening to jazz can sometimes make you feel was amazing as well. It really kind of captured sometimes like the chaotic element of jazz, where like not everything is just as like paced or monotonous. Like it captures the swing, it captures a lot of that stuff like really nicely as well. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. Like I had, again, like there was a couple of things that I would criticize, but that has more to do with kind of like how Japanese movies in general can sometimes get over dramatic with certain things that are just not very prevalent in like North American stuff. I don't know if that's a fair criticism. So like I think at the end of the day it's just more of like a personal thing versus like an objectively, oh wow, like they did this wrong sort of thing. So yeah, phenomenal movie. Great recommendation. It actually, funny enough, like I recommended that to two friends, and both of them then also told me you should go watch Kids on the Slope, which I believe was Mappa's first release, like back in 2012, 2013 or something like that. And very similar. It's about like these kids that are starting like a jazz group, or like they're basically just like into jazz. I'm only 2 episodes in, so I don't know if they actually start the group or not. But very similar stuff. It was also really hilarious when like I was watching Kids on a Slope in the first episode, and it refers to an old musician named Art Blakey, who's also referred to in Blue Giant. So there's like a lot of those similarities as well. But I think, yeah, I guess that's currently like the kick that I'm on, is a lot of like content surrounding music and not just the music itself. So yeah, really cool. Recommend me more, Jaren.
When are you gonna pick up the vinyl?
It's like $120, dude.
Yeah, but you have a job, Rakush, so and this is the mistake zone.
Yeah, but I also got to see Julian in a couple of months. So like that's something, and then like also Anime North is in like a month's time. So like maybe I'll look for it there.
Okay, fair enough. But speaking about questionable choices with money, boys, pre-orders went up this week for a particular video game console coming out
Most questionable.
on June 6, 2025. And hey Matt, how's Wallacan doing on your end?
My Wallacan is doing pretty good, Jaren. How's your Wallacan doing?
Okay. I think he's crying for help right now because on April 24th, I have secured a Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order for the Mario Kart World bundle, and I have a month's time to sleep on it and figure if I want to keep this pre-order. I think the pre-order...
You're going to flip this, right? You're not actually going to play the Switch?
No, it's weird because I feel like pre-orders, at least in Canada, I can't speak for our American neighbors, but I feel like they're more
Mm.
accessible than I thought they would be. I believe even the GameStops um, in the country, I think their allocation was around 150 to 200 per store from what
That's
I've
crazy.
been seeing. And I think I pre-ordered off Walmart for what that's worth. And it's one of those at midnight, instantly sold out. But if you were hovering around the website around 12:13, 12:14, you were able to add to cart and check out, which me and fellow Saturday morning friend Mark's also someone who's beating up their wallet wanted to confirm as well. But I think, yeah, in terms of Canadian pre-orders, uh, I know Costco, they accepted pre-orders, but I believe they canceled most of them just because I don't think they're being allocated the amount they thought they would be. But that's just what I've been seeing. So yeah, we'll see in a month's time if I have that Switch too. But I think it's hurting just because we're now seeing um other publishers, other games really seeing that $99 price tag. I know Silent Hill F, I shared that screenshot with you guys. GameStop has that on pre-order for $100. I know just
$100.
recently.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't look at any Atlas games on
Ooh.
Amazon or GameStop, Rakush, because Metaphor ReFantasio, $100 right
A
now as
hundred
well.
dollars.
Get the hell out of here.
Are you
No.
serious?
Yeah.
How much is that on
Yep.
Steam right now?
Mark is asking if he should buy it at $56.99 before it gets locked into the $99 range. And boys, I think I'm being priced out of this genre where all of a sudden this funny Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order is making me feel real yucky.
Hmm.
Just because if I wanted the Pro controller, because boys, you know how much I love a Pro controller, don't want to pay 120 after taxes for said controller.
Yeah, I feel like if you go for like
Yeah.
the full package, that's at least $1,000 Canadian, of course. But yeah,
And
I mean, I kind of appreciate that. Like, you can use the Switch 1 controllers on the Switch
Mhm.
2, which is nice, but
it's
Yeah.
something.
the
yeah,
back paddles. Uh, and yeah, I was just talking to a few coworkers who also managed to pre-order it, and then saying, yeah, I pre-ordered like the camera, I pre-ordered
Mm.
the carrying case, and then I don't know, for some reason, as I talked to more people who actually pre-ordered this, I started to feel even more yucky. So take that for what you will. Where I don't know, boys, the idea of me paying what after taxes 120 for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 makes me feel
Mhm.
real bad, where I might try to at least see what the Game Pass loop or, whatever, I don't want to say exploit, but how to get cheaper Game Pass, what um the process is now, because at this point I'm begging or praying that I can still buy Xbox Live Gold and convert that to Game Pass for like $1. But speaking about Game Pass, big week, at least if you're a Game Pass player. And Julian, thank you once again for joining us this week because I feel like you've been playing some video games. Julian?
I feel like he's the only guy out of us four that actually plays the new stuff.
Uh, I'm gonna let you take that back because me and Matt have been playing some real games. But those depends who you ask what a real game is. But before that, uh, Julian, how's the Oblivion remake, which was a hot drop this week?
I mean, I guess to start with, like, what a baller move to announce it and then like drop it at the exact same day or at the exact same time. Yeah, I remember I was about to tune into the announcement, and I remember Jaren messaging me and being like, "Oh, it's up on Steam." So crazy. But I think so. You called it a remake, but it's a remaster, Jaren. And I think a big conversation around
Oh,
Oblivion.
My apologies, Julian. My apologies, Julian, and the internet, because I know this.
Yeah,
is
this
a
was
thing
the
right
hot
now.
button. Like, discussion around it. Because like it's called a remaster, and then if you're watching the live stream, a lot of the comments were like, this isn't a remaster, this is a whole remake. Because it like looks nice, and it's running on Unreal instead of like whatever Gamebryo, whatever the original one was. But I mean, I've only played like a couple hours of it, but like, I guess when it comes down to it, the big conversation is what the difference between a remaster and a remake is. And like for me, a remake has to be like a completely different game, like from the ground up, like Final Fantasy VII remake. But a lot of people are like, this is more like a remake and not a remaster. Boys, that is just Oblivion. Like I played a few hours of that, and they made some changes, and it looks really nice. But that motherfucking game is Oblivion at the end of the day. Like, they made some quality of life changes, but under the hood, like this isn't like me disparaging it, because a lot of people really love Oblivion, and Oblivion is a great game, but like it plays like a 20-year-old game. Like when it comes to going into the dungeons, it is very much a bunch of labyrinths, a bunch of like copy and paste like corridors. Like when it comes to the loot system, like there's things that like it's hard to find the information of like how much weight it has, like like how much stronger it is, what level it is. Level scaling is like kind of all over the place. Like there are things that more modern games have kind of addressed that are still there. So it kind of, when you're into it and you're playing it, it's Oblivion. And again, that's not me saying that that's a bad thing, because Oblivion is a great game at the end of the day, like in terms of story, in terms of like what it is as a whole package. But I think the idea that it's a quote-unquote remake isn't really like true. Like it is a remaster at the end of the day. It is just Oblivion under the hood, but it looks nice and it's beautiful. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone else kind of checked it out, but
So haven't had a chance to check it
Sorry,
out, but I
go on.
do have a question.
Mhm.
Is it actually $66 Canadian outside of Game Pass?
I'm not sure. I only played it on Game Pass, so I don't know.
Yeah, I believe it's around 66 Canadian.
And it comes with all the DLCs of. 'Cause I think a lot of people are comparing it to what the Switch 2 is doing. Just jumping off the Switch 2, with their Breath of the Wild, like upgrade for the Switch 2, because that's like $100 and doesn't come with any of the DLC. While this one is a this one is a remaster that's like 66 Canadian, but it comes with all the DLC that the original has. And then if you pay $20 more, you get like additional DLC that's new. So yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, this is how you do an upgrade, and not like those people in Nintendo, blah blah blah.
Classic Nintendo.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned, Julian, how it does have a facelift, but at its core, this is a 20-year-old game.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I think
so to the point that people are able, I'm not sure if anyone's kind of seen it, but people, like, there's a lot of like Oblivion memes of like how the characters like interact. It's so Oblivion that people were able to literally recreate those memes just with the upgraded graphics.
I'm actually really curious to get my hands on this. I know I'm just not at where I'm at right now, not the best place to download kind of big games, because I know this is also a beefy boy download. At
Yeah,
least
that's
on
what
the
was
Xbox as
stopping me.
well.
Yeah, it's like 120, I think, 120 gigabytes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where I know when we talked about Starfield a year or two ago, Matt, I think one of my major complaints was I'm so used to that modded, customized Bethesda experience at this point, where I'm really curious how it is going back to a game that has, pretty visuals, but at its core, a 20-year-old Bethesda experience that isn't running mods as well. Where, as someone who
I mean, I heard
would
that
be coming to
the remaster already has a lot of mods working for it. That like they were able to port
Okay.
a lot of the mods from original to the remaster pretty easily.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
mods for the remaster right now, most of them are shader mods. which are fine, but that kind of just
Mm.
changes the ini files to kind of
Yeah.
like, so those are simple ones. But the mods that people were able to transfer are mods that use the assets within the game. So like the mods, for example, of like, there's mods to have armor and like high level armor and weapons appear like right at the start of the game. So like things that kind of just reuse what's already in the game, there people were able to port. But I think the question a lot of people are talking about is a lot of the mods when it comes to Fallout and Skyrim and stuff. A lot of the mods some people make is with mod tools they're able to create like new assets. And I think as of right now, and I could be wrong because it kind of changes all the time, but as of the last time I checked, the big wall right now is that people aren't sure whether this is moddable to the point where they can create those new assets. As of right now, I think it's very limited to being able to just kind of use what's already in the game. Yeah.
I love how obvious it is that you have previously modded an Bethesda game before.
Oh, I modded the shit out of so many Bethesda games.
I feel like if you're playing a Bethesda game on PC, if you haven't modded it, you're not playing a Bethesda game on PC.
Yeah, like it's
Rite of passage?
I haven't played a base game Bethesda game in a long time.
Yeah, so
quick-
Oblivion, sorry, Rakush, do you have another cue for Julian?
Kind of. Like, this was an interesting thing that I just saw. So I'm on Blue Sky now, not on Twitter, so it's a little bit of an echo chamber there. But something I saw that was an interesting post was someone trying to promote like an indie game of theirs that released on the same day as Oblivion, and basically like asking for like the promotion to be kind of like boosted out a little bit more because according to them their sales got impacted by the ghost drop for Oblivion, or like the sudden drop for Oblivion. I've never actually considered the impact of just like an unannounced release like that, and I'm curious, like, do you guys think that actually has an impact on like indie game releases and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think this happened. I can't remember what game it was, but I think there was also a big thing a couple of months ago where I think EA ended up shadow dropping a lot of their classic games on Steam, like games they didn't have on Steam before. They just shadow dropped a whole bunch of them, and I think a number of indie devs ended up also kind of similar to what you're talking about, started speaking up about this idea that for indie devs, like they have to have a really big solid plan about marketing and when to release, of like avoiding big games, because those are the times when there's the most visibility for and to give the best shot at indie games for their indie game. But then like when things like this happen, it immediately, like at that point, like no one is looking at anything else. Like that entire day, everyone was just talking about the Oblivion remaster.
Yeah. Even outside of like indies, like one that always comes to mind just for big games is like Horizon, right?
Oh yeah, it happened twice.
Yeah.
What happened with
Both
Horizon?
Horizon games got the original Horizon and Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Both like came out on the days that was it Breath of the Wild?
Oh,
Breath of the Wild
Breath of
for
the
the
Wild, Twilight
original.
Princess.
Yeah, so Breath of the Wild for the original.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild and then Elden Ring. It
Mhm.
released like simultaneously alongside both of those, and I don't think Horizon has ever been like a super super big seller that Sony wanted it to be.
Yeah, because both those games are like generational if you think about it. Like Breath
Yeah.
of the Wild and then Elden Ring, and then like it's become such a meme that people are like memeing about the idea of like when Horizon 3 drops, like what generational game is gonna come out.
Yeah, even if it wasn't day and date, I think, it was relatively within the same release window where, as Julian Matt said, just a meme coming out of that, where I think with kind of shadow dropping games, especially on Game Pass, the first one everyone thinks to is Hi-Fi Rush. And while Hi-Fi Rush, got its accolades, not necessarily the best when it came to units sold or even from what I've seen Game Pass performance. And then, we saw what happened with the developer Tango Game Studios or Tango Game Works. But I think with Oblivion, it was I think the run up to its shadow drop has been interesting. Again, this is all within a more niche bubble, but I think for a better part of the year now, and especially the last few weeks, you had so many of these news outlets reporting on the various leaks coming out regarding Oblivion, how, oh, it's going to shadow drop next month, it's going to shadow drop in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, next week, it's happening tomorrow. And it's not a traditional marketing rollout for sure, but I think one thing to also consider is the fact that it's a Bethesda release, it's a Microsoft release at this point, and there's so much nostalgia attached to kind of Oblivion, where, yeah, I think a game can shadow drop to varying degrees, but I think there's only a certain, level of game where it would make a really big impact. Again, it's one of those generational games, and with Oblivion, since it has such a storied history behind it, I think that's why something like it shadow dropping would affect a lot more indie titles, since immediately that just consumes the entire news cycle for that day, where it is pretty rough. And I know the moment it was announced, I immediately, messaged everyone thinking, wow, I'm curious how the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 devs feel, where I know they're technically not of the same genre, but I still feel like that would sting just a tiny bit, especially if they're both available on Game Pass just a day or two from each other. But Julian, have to ask, since you've also been playing some Clair Obscur, how is this not JRPG treating you?
Boys, I used to pray for times like this. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is the most Julian core game I've ever played in like recent year. Like,
okay,
just
Oh man.
if there was ever if I ever sat down and like made a video game, it would like look like this.
You'd be a very talented game designer.
No, I mean, it's just like everything about it. Like, granted, I've only played like a couple hours at the start of it because it just came out, but everything about it is just like things that I love. So like, a story, immediately it's talking about a lot of that themes of, impending doom, death, like, and how we kind of deal with that. And then it kind of also brings into, that focus, that idea of optimism of like, yes, you're doomed, but like, what can you build for the future? And then at the same time, it has those hints of Nier, where it's like you're being presented with something, and it's very clear that what you're being presented with isn't the entire truth. So then it kind of has to dig into that, like, okay, what actually is the case here? And again, I haven't finished the game yet, so it could be wrong, but it has the proper setups to get me excited. In terms of music, absolutely beautiful score. It's doing that. It's doing very similar to Nier, and I'm gonna be referencing a lot of games while I talk about this because it's a game that very clearly wears a lot of its inspirations on its sleeves, and they're pretty, as developers, I think they're pretty open about it. They're pretty open about the idea that a lot of their inspiration is a lot of like Japanese RPGs and like, it is a turn-based RPG, but I'll kind of get into the gameplay in a second. But in terms of music, very close to Nier, where, it is somber music that has vocals. And I know Nier uses like a fake language for its vocals, but as someone who unfortunately and regrettably didn't take French seriously in in grade school and high school, the songs are in French, so it kind of does still have that same vibes because I can't understand it. So music, absolutely beautiful. But gameplay wise too, I think it is such an evolution of what I think of when I think of JRPGs. So like exploration wise, it's nice because it kind of gives you a lot of like carrots to kind of chase, because it does, when you're exploring, it does give you enough to kind of make it worthwhile, because it does give you enough like weapons and upgrades to kind of go on. And I think the big moment for me that made me go, okay, like this is amazing, is the moment I left the first area and it opens up into a big overworld map. And I don't really recall the last time I played an RPG that had an overworld map. I think the last one I played was Ni no Kuni, that in recent memory that had like a JRPG ass open world map. And I think I get excited for that.
It's slightly isometric as well, right?
A little bit, yeah. And I think I get excited for that because like one of my favorite moments in a lot of JRPGs is that moment where you get like either like an airship or like a or like a boat and like the whole world kind of opens up. Mm-hmm. And I can tell like right away with the way the overworld map is designed, you know, like I feel like I'm probably gonna get that moment at some point where that overworld map is going to open up where I can probably kind of explore a little bit more. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I think the big thing that really, really hooked me is the gameplay. So I was a bit worried going in because I think a big question a lot of people have is what would a turn-based RPG look like in, you know, the year of our Lord 2025? Like, how do you make it more exciting? And I think a lot of different games have tried to address this. So I'm not sure if anyone's played Chained Echoes, but it's an indie game. It's an RPG. And I think it does it really well. But at the same year that game came out, Sea of Stars came out. And I'm not sure if anyone here has played Sea of Stars, but Sea of Stars, I think a lot of people said and compared it to Chrono Trigger, and I'm really sorry if there are any fans of Sea of Stars here or listening, but Sea of Stars like bored me to tears. Like absolutely beautiful game, but that gameplay is boring as fuck. And I think that's the game I realized that a lot of JRPGs or a lot of RPGs that do turn-based, they try to make it interesting by doing like active button prompts or active button presses. So like you press a button, you take less damage. You press a button, you do more damage. And that's all Sea of Stars kind of offered. And I think once I've kind of put that game down, that's when I kind of realized like I feel like that's not enough anymore. And I think Clair Obscur does something where it kind of takes that and kind of evolves it a bit further. So I'm gonna start with like the defense wise. So like when enemies are attacking you, a lot of modern turn-based games kind of just start and stop it. You press a button and you take less damage. But now in Clair Obscur, there's 3 actions you can take, and each one has a benefit. So you can either dodge. So a dodge has a larger window, but you take no damage if you do it successfully. But you can also parry, where it has a smaller window, but if you do it successfully, and sometimes enemies do a combo, so if they do a combo, you have to parry every single one. But if you do it, then you do a counter attack. Or you can jump. So sometimes when enemies do a combo towards you, they're not just hitting you, they might do a low sweep. So not only are you countering, you also have to jump. So not only are you like parrying, you have to like also consider, okay, now I have to jump as well. So moment to moment, like it's kind of plays like an action game where you are reacting. So it's not just like a very simple, okay, I'm going to press the button when, you know, this happens. I have to actually actively watch movement and watch and what the enemy is telegraphing in order to properly, you know, respond. And I think the big thing about that is like when you get into the flow state of things, like I did a boss where I was getting like kind of destroyed at the start, but once I learned its patterns, like I pretty much at the end of it became not like unstoppable, but to the point where like it went from I was getting rolled by this boss to now I am like avoiding everything they're doing and kind of countering, and I ended the fight with a counter attack, and like that is such a good feeling that you don't really get from other like turn-based RPGs. And on the flip side, when it comes to attacking, and again, a lot of, you know, turn-based RPGs do the thing where you press the button at the right time and you do more damage. And it does have that, but I think what it smartly does is, So in a lot of like turn-based RPGs, the difference between each party member just comes down to stats. So like when you think of Persona or when you think of Metaphor ReFantazio, like the only difference between the different party members is like what class and what job they have. So like one party member will do like wind damage while the other person will do ice damage. You know, someone will have Bufu, the other person will have Zio or whatever. And that'll be like the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that this game does differently is that each character has a specific gameplay system. So it's not just a difference of stats, but it's a difference of gameplay. So the main character that you play, Gustav, his skills build charge, and the more charge he has, the more damage certain skills do. So he has skills that add charge and take away charge. So for him, it's a balance of when are you going to use his charges, when are you going to build up charges. Another character, their skills changes. So another character is like a fencer basically, and any skill they do puts them in a different stance. So they might be in a defensive stance, and they might be in a more aggressive stance, and each stance kind of has its positives and negatives. So moment to moment gameplay with each character, you're strategizing like within that character. So when you're playing as that character, you're kind of, each one feels different because you're thinking about that character. But what they also smartly do is, even though they have their own gameplay systems, their gameplay systems also interact with each other. So for example, like one person is like the mage character, and they can do elemental spells. So, you know, they can set someone on fire, and that enemy will have, will receive a burn status effect. But then the person that is a fencer, if they have a skill where if they have, you know, if they attack someone who has a burn status, then they automatically get, they get put into a different stance, like the most like positive stance. So not only are you considering the characters by themselves, you're also considering how the characters can benefit and synergize with other characters in that party. So it's this really great balance of like you're strategizing for the character themselves, but you're also strategizing a few steps ahead of like, how can I set up this other character so what I'm doing now benefits them later when it gets to their turn. So it's a turn-based game, yes, but at the same time, you're also not just thinking within those singular turns. You're kind of thinking of, you know, things down the line and a few steps ahead. And it's such a really smart, like evolution of like what other turn-based games have kind of done in the like recent years. And it's so far I'm like absolutely loving it. But yeah, sorry, long talk, long rant, but fantastic game.
Okay. So Julian, you spelled it out for us pretty clear. You know, you have a storyline that, you know, is tugging at your existential dread strings. You have a beautiful soundtrack. You have engaging gameplay. But for this to be, in my eyes, a real Julian game, you got to tell us, man, how's the fashion in Clair Obscur?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm really happy because when I saw it, I saw that they had alternate costumes if you do the pre-order special, you know, banana bucks version or whatever. But when I was playing the game, you do pick up a lot of cosmetics as well. So in game there are cosmetics that you can kind of change in your character, and you can toggle a option to have it in cutscenes. So there are. I guess it kind of depends on what you're okay with, but like there are some silly costumes. Like I got a costume that's like French AF, where they have like a baguette as their weapon, and you can kind of toggle it. And then like it's a lot of the cutscenes are very serious because it's like a very dour and, you know, theme. And then suddenly there's this person with like a baguette out of nowhere, and they're talking about like how their entire expedition is like failing.
Yeah, that's my jam. That's my jam.
Yeah, well, that's it's there. It's pretty much that meme of like when my custom character is in the cutscene. So that is there. That is you have an option for
Question
that.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking a look at the cast for this game, and it seems like two of the notable names are Andy Serkis and Charlie Cox.
Yes.
That says to me like there's at least an extra focus on the story elements and stuff like that as well. Is that coming across as like they're going for a more cinematic experience tied to the JRPG, like the classic JRPG genre?
I'd say so. Yeah, like Charlie Cox is plays the main character, Gustav. And I think Andy Serkis, I didn't see a whole lot of his character yet. I mean, when he's introduced, he's as of right now, he's the antagonist. I'm not sure if that'll change later because I have a feeling, again, it's very near like where they're probably gonna reveal later that like it's not like what it seems. But he is like as of right now the antagonist. But yeah, like they are putting in a lot of work when it comes to the cinematics and the story because outside of those two, they do have a really stacked cast when it comes to the acting, the actors when it comes to like famous actors in video games. So like for example, the secondary character you have is Jennifer English, who played Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3. And Ben Starr is also another character. I haven't met them yet, but I saw them. But Ben Starr famously now is Clive in Final Fantasy 16. And also is also Balatro in Balatro. So yeah, like I think they are like, I think it is a star-studded cast when it comes to both like Hollywood actors, but also actors, you know, like video game actors. Yeah, so I would say they are definitely kind of taking that seriously for sure.
Awesome, man. And the fact that like you're comparing it to Nier, coming from you especially, I feel like that's setting quite high expectations.
Yeah, I'm hoping they kind of stick the landing. I know right now it's like first impressions is really, really good.
Yeah.
But I am hopeful because it does have those hooks that I think I haven't really felt since, you know, like I remember like sitting down in high school playing the original Nier and kind of having those feelings of like, oh, this is different. This is something. And then like as I completely like played Nier and kind of finished it, and like original Nier, not like Nier Automata, like because Automata I kind of expected that there was gonna be like a twist because of original Nier, but when I played original Nier, there was very much like these hooks of like, this is something I haven't really kind of seen before. And at the same time, like when I say that about Clair Obscur, I'm kind of seeing those very similar hooks. But I, you know, this is me preface by saying that I haven't finished the game yet, so this could completely change within like you know, how whenever I finish it. But as of right now, I think it's really, really hitting a lot of those things that I absolutely love in like games. So I'm hoping they stick the landing, and if they do, it'll be an all-timer for me. But I mean, only time will tell, really.
Julian, final question: will 2B be DLC for this game?
I mean, I hope so. That would be peak, as the youth say.
Fair. Matt, is this something on your radar? I know we talked about it briefly when this was first announced, but do you see yourself playing this within the next few weeks?
I mean, I think so now, yes, because of how Julian kind of described the battle system. You know, I think the latest modernish JRPG that I did play was Sea of Stars, and I did kind of bore out of
that game is boring.
Like, I found like the kind of battle system very Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it was just like, you know, hitting the timing press and kind of the way you described specifically the dodge jump counter system or parry system sounded very interesting to me, and I think that is enough for me to want to at least like give this a try, especially since it's just on Game Pass. So it's not like it's, you know, really costing me anything extra.
Because it's like, I hesitate to say it's very Souls-like because I know like everyone kind of does at this point. But I think what they do too is it is very like, it is to the point where I think they're aware of it, because when you lose a battle, a lot of the times you will just reload to right before the battle. So like there are these super bosses you'll encounter where like a single hit will kill you. So I think the super bosses are very much like incentivized where you pretty much have to kind of like perfectly learn their patterns to so I mean, you could wait later, but I also try to fight the super bosses when I encounter them. And like when you learn their patterns, you can beat them by doing, either dodging, countering, and jumping and knowing when to do it. So it is that kind of like Souls, like, again, I hate kind of comparing it to it, but I kind of have to at this point, where it does have that idea of like pattern recognition and kind of learning that pattern, and then kind of like once you learn it and you get into the flow of it, it's such a rewarding feeling, like once you kind of take them down.
Yeah, because like stylistically, this game has always to me looked very, very good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It feels to me just like UI wise, at least what I've seen in what do you call it, like trailers and stuff. It does feel like, oh, this is what like a modern Persona should actually be like.
Yeah. And I think like sorry to keep jumping in, but like you're kind of bringing up these points, but like I absolutely love it when RPGs have adult main characters, and this has that. Because it is like there, and again, this is probably an age and a personal preference thing, but like comparing it to Persona, like Persona's fun and all, but I think I connected more with Metaphor because the characters there are a bit more like mature, and by extension this as well. A lot of the characters are adults, and they kind of talk about and deal with things that like me as an old dude it now kind of also relates to.
I mean, okay, actually, for the UI itself, because when I've been like looking at kind of just like reviews on like this game, I am kind of seeing that it's kind of hit or miss on whether or not people like how the UI controls. Like, what do you think about the battle UI, I guess, specifically?
It's very, I think, again, they wear a lot of their influences on their sleeve, I assume, but UI wise, I think they are trying to do like a Persona like. So like for example, if I talk about the menu, they do the same thing with Persona, where like, for example, if you click on the armor or like the weapon screen, like, how Persona stylistically like shows the character, and then like, as you flip through it, like the character moves and it's like, ooh, like look at this. It's kind of doing that too, where as you're flipping through the menus, like, you kind of see the character and the camera kind of moves around them. So it kind of does that. In terms of battle, it is doing that same thing with Persona, where each face button does something. So it's not like a menu where you like press up and down to select something. It's like press Y to go open up the items. And I think sometimes I do, because I think, so for Persona, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think for Persona, when you press a button, it brings you into a menu. So let's say you press X, it brings you into a menu for the spells, and then you can press up and down to kind of select the spells.
Yeah.
And I think that's preferable, because in Clair Obscur, what happens is you press the button and it brings you into a menu, but in that menu you still have each spell is also assigned to a specific button.
I see.
Yeah, so it's not like it doesn't bring you into a menu where you can now press up and down. It brings you into a menu where now you also have to learn what button that skill is, which is fine in theory, but also at the same time, when you're moving skills around, and you will eventually, because you start learning more skills, right? So sometimes you kind of have to move things around. In terms of, it kind of unfortunately sometimes goes against muscle memory, because you have like a skill that you've been using for hours, and then now you want to change it because you want to switch it out, and then it kind of shifts to a different button. So now you have to kind of be like, okay, like what button is this on now? So that does kind of get annoying, but also it's, once you're kind of aware of it, it's just something to kind of watch out for. But yeah, I think that's kind of my thing about the UI, if you're thinking about the UI.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that does seem like a little. I can understand why people would get
annoyed by it. Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, it does definitely sound interesting. That if I can get past my Game Pass download issues, I'll definitely give it a look.
And that's Clair Obscur, available now on Game Pass. Oblivion also on Game Pass. And I think that concludes our, I guess, monthly Game Pass shill segment. Can't wait for in a few weeks when we once again shill Game Pass for Doom Eternal. So can't wait to see you then again, Julian.
And
But
Tony Hawk? When is Tony Hawk supposed to be?
that's July.
Oh, it's July. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can figure out what the Game Pass loop or exploit loop is over there. But real quick, I have to be a dirty degen because some would say I've been playing the realist games this week. And real quick, a bunch of anniversaries, half anniversaries are happening in mobile games. Still playing Bang Dream Girls Band Party. They're currently having their worldwide server anniversary, so you can log in right now, get a daily free 10 pull, bunch of currency, and they have a Dreamfest banner going on as well. For Arknights, also their kind of half-year anniversary for worldwide, where there's again, daily rules, a free 10 pull when you log in, Lapland Altar being the featured unit this time, and hot off the presses, coming from China for their 6th anniversary. I believe they just had a info drop announcing the latest new 6-star operators, including an Exu Altar.
Oh, nice.
But one thing I wanted to mention. Also, they did announce for CN, at least there will be a PC version of Arknights coming, which I hope comes to worldwide, because Matt, I don't know if you still use the Google Play beta on your PC, but mine refuses to play Arknights, regardless of how many times I try to reinstall both the game and the Google Play client. So I'm really hoping the PC version comes to worldwide as well. But I don't know about you guys, but whenever a game, specifically a live service game or a mobile game, sends a player survey out, you gotta find ways to get your free premium currency somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And usually one of the last questions is, hey, what property, what game would you like our game to collaborate with? So hot off the presses, just announced like 3 hours ago, so this will be a week old when our friends hear this live. But Matt, whenever a game asks me, hey, can you collab, what do you want us to collab with? My top 3, I'll always put in order. 1, Hatsune Miku. 2, Hololive. And 3, Bang Dream Girls Band Party. Matt, just announced in the CN anniversary for Arknights, coming soon, Arknights cross Bang Dream Girls Band Party, Av Mujika. And Matt, I prayed for times like Julian prayed for a game like Clair Obscur. I prayed for an Arknights Bang Dream collab, and here it is.
Oh man!
So that is wild. Matt, is the Arknights Destiny collab still happening? Even though it was announced 3 years ago and nothing's happened since.
Oh, I don't know. Is Destiny still happening? I feel like that game might have died in the last 3 years.
Show of hands, who looked into the marathon stuff? Because I did not.
Just to know what kind of game Marathon was, and then I bounced off once I knew what kind of game Marathon was.
Not a fan of extraction shooters, Matt?
No, Jaren, Jaren, I think ever since The Division, I've hated the concept of having to go gather loot for somebody else to pick up off my corner.
Fair enough. And finally, we have Nikke, Goddess of Victory. Their 2.5-year anniversary going on right now. Of all the anniversaries happening, I think this was one of the most generous. We have 2 units, one new Pilgrim in Siren or Little Mermaid, and then one next week in the altar for Mahara. A bunch of login bonuses, bunch of free pulls as well. But the reason I wanted to mention Nikke real quick is they released the latest story chapters, and I've gone on record saying mobile game visual novel stories, usually they're a drag to get through. I know Arknights I fell off pretty hard. Bang Dream fell off pretty hard. Matt, I know we're gonna get into it, but ZZZ, I'm still trying to follow the story, but for
Mhm.
some reason, Nikkei is the one that still has my attention. Literally, when these two new story chapters dropped earlier this week, I think I spent like 2 hours going through all of them. The only reason I wanted to bring it up is because if you follow the main story, there's two parallel storylines going on right now, following two of the main squad members, one Rappy, and then one named Annis. And for Rappy, that's kind of the main Rapture storyline, with her dealing with essentially offsprings of the queen who's trying to destroy the world, who might be dead. So you have all your kind of existential dread storyline in her corner, and then it's kind of jarring because it follows Annis's story as well, who is a former idol who's trying to get her idol group back together to do one more farewell performance so she's able to leave that life
One
behind
last
and
ride.
become the true, I get, basically she's jealous of that Rappy is an alter now and she wants to be a alter, and for her to do that she needs to let go of her idol past. So yeah, 1 minute you'll be watching people fighting for their lives, trying to uh explore, trying to talk to an enemy or an anti-hero who could be a potential ally, and then on the next side it's, hey, can we get the band back together so I can become the person I want to be. So yeah, Nikkei is still Nikkei. Check it out if you want some free pulls. But Matt, Rakush said that Julian's the only one playing real video games, but I think we're playing the realest video game.
With 3 sets.
Matt, I know we've been putting it on the back burner for the past few weeks. We've missed a few Zenless Zone Zero updates, but gotta ask you, first one up, how's our girl Trigger doing for you?
Jaren, I really like Trigger. I wish I kind of pulled her Wenjin because that thing is really, really strong, but I am against it, pulling Wenjins because I think that is a way too much, what do you call it, investment into a single character. But her gameplay itself is very fun. I like that it's very hands off. I guess it's really weird to say that her gameplay is fun when I say that her gameplay is hands off, but animation wise that is very, very fun. And I guess, like, looking into the future, Jufufu's animations look on the same tier as that, and
okay,
I think it's an archetype that I really, really like.
So yes, Trigger is, I guess, the last limited banner to release. Looks like she was straight out of Nikkei as well. New stun character, but Matt, the new hotness this week.
The new hotness.
Our simp princess, if you will. We have the release of Vivian for the latest Zenless Zone Zero update. And Matt, as someone who was crashing over his pulls, how did your Vivian pulls go this week, and how do you find her playstyle?
Jaren, my Vivian pulls went pretty well. I overall into her banner dropped 100 pulls in total. My first 10 pull I pulled Arena, and then on my, I guess, like 90 I did a double pull of Vivian, which is really, really nice. I wish it wasn't a second Vivian that I pulled. I wish that I got a guaranteed 50-50 for the next character, but I'll take the double Vivian.
Okay. So Matt,
Jaren, how's your pulls?
Matt, my pulls were bad. I don't want to go into it because I was really mad because I tried to pull for Jane's engine right after, and that didn't go so well. But as a dumb boy, Matt, how do I play as Vivian?
Vivian is pretty simple. You are basically just wanting to build up. Vivian has two kinds of stacks on her. One is, I think, it's just like feathers, and then like the outside feathers. I don't know what words they're using for this because ZZZ has way too many words that they make up for things that you can just call charges and like type 2 charges. But basically for Vivian, you want to complete her basic attack combo because that gives you charges. You want to counter with her because that gives you basic charges. And you want to use her EX special because that gives you charges. And every move that gives you charges turns on her butt jetpacks and it makes her fly in the air. And then you want to switch off of her because that's what turns her type 1 charges into type 2 charges. And her type 2 charges are basically aftershock attacks. They're not considered aftershock attacks, but when you attack with other agents, it makes her attack, and that's how you get the big damage. Because if you're playing an anomaly style team, which you should be, because anomaly is where it's at. I think Vivian kind of just like creates a dot based on whatever anomaly you already have procced, and that's giving you big damage, and it's making Jane relevant again, which I love.
Me too, Matt. Me too, as someone who is still trying to pull her engine, even though he probably shouldn't. But I didn't sleep well last night because Matt, some information dropped, some leaks dropped.
Yes.
Because even though I believe this is update 1.7 right now, that's going to be old news in months' time when we finally get Zenless Zone Zero's 2.0, the anniversary, and some leaks were happening, Matt. And I think right off the rip, I've been talking about anniversary pulls for the mobile games I've been playing, but apparently the Zenless Zone Zero's 2.0 1-year anniversary, player rewards have been leaked. Of course, grain of salt, but Matt, what are you thinking about the freebies that we may potentially be getting in a month's time?
I mean, the freebies that they have, been leaked are basically, just a bunch of pull currency, and then the very interesting one is the agent selector and a vengeance selector. And I am assuming that it's going to be standard, but I am really hoping that it's going to be 1.0. Which would be very, very generous.
I don't think MiHoYo is generous to players.
I don't think that they're that generous, but I don't know. I think it'd be very nice. If that is the case, I'm looking forward to finally being able to get Soldier 11, and I don't know what engine I would want for that. But I don't know what have you been looking at, Jaren?
I think for me, if it is standard only, I'll be going for, even though I don't have a Coletta, I'd probably do M1 Rena, just because I'm coming up to my 300th pull for the standard banner. So it's either or. Whatever I don't pick for the standard banner, I'd get.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And engine wise, it's either something I can put on Nagi, or I think Brimstone's something that people keep talking about as well. But those are kind of what I'm feeling now. But also, we were getting a look at some of the newer characters to come with 2.0. I know they've also leaked, or not even leaked, but hinted at what we might see in terms of the actual kind of gameplay changes and what they're doing to the protagonist. But from what we've seen of the characters to be releasing so far, Matt, what are you feeling? Who are you excited about?
I mean, they haven't shown anything for Yushuan yet, which I'm assuming that I'm going to pull, because Jaren, she's going to be the OP character for the patch, so you got to pull that to make the game easier for yourself. Jufufu is looking like a off-field stun agent. Her, like I said earlier, animation's very nice. She's just a little tiger girl who has a big popcorn robot that's shaped like a tiger as well, and she spins around on it like a Beyblade, which is pretty good animations. Jaren, they also showed off Pan Yin-Hu, the kind of giant panda that...
What's his name?
Pan Yin-Hu. He was a giant panda, and he has a hat which is actually just a wok, and his ultimate is that he cooks fried rice in the wok and heals the team, which I think is,
incredible.
pretty good concept. And
it's pretty good.
Really tying into the I guess, like, Chinese style of this patch's, I guess, whole aesthetic.
A hairy creature that cooks fried rice. He thinks he's me.
I feel like you would, conceptually like this character.
Listen, this is your semi-regular attempt to try to get me to this game. It's not gonna happen.
Not yet, Rakush. Not yet.
Oh,
we're trying. We're trying.
I mean,
I respect the attempt.
Come on, Rakush. He's a. I was gonna say Chinese coded panda, but I feel like that might be very, just like redundant to say.
Yeah, I don't think he's coded. I think he's just
he's just Chinese. But he does what do you call it? His attacks are like, pressure point attacks. He does kung fu. This is Kung Fu Panda with fried rice.
God, you know what I just remembered? That meme, that TikTok of the dude who gets to heaven and he's like, "No, it's okay. I just didn't think it would be Chinese."
I have no idea.
Speaking about memes we don't recognize.
I'll send this over to you guys later.
Okay.
It's okay.
It's not as offensive as it sounds, I don't think, but I'm
Mhm.
gonna stop digging my hole here.
Yeah. I
Okay.
wish that the bear characters were more relevant because, like, design-wise, I really like the panda and I really like Ben, but in terms of
Mhm.
gameplay, I don't have reason to use them.
Fair. Fair. But yeah, Matt 2.0 coming. I guess, yeah. Zenless Zone Zero did release June. Was it June or July? One of those in the coming months. So something to look forward to. But yeah, 1.7 is right now. Have you touched any of the story?
Yeah, I finished up the story for 1.7.
Okay.
It is a ZZZ ass story.
Okay. What I did notice is I'm still making my way through it right now. They do call it an epilogue for season one, which makes sense with 2.0 around the
Mhm.
corner, where I guess since I don't mind spoilers personally, and of course Julian and Rakush aren't touching this game,
Mhm.
how do you feel about the epilogue to season one, and does it set itself up nicely for 2.0 coming up?
Man, I think Hugo Lycon shippers are gonna be feasting for this epilogue part two.
Mm.
What do you call it? I think the story overall kind of leads in, like, obviously it's like gonna lead into what they've showed for 2.0. I think the story is like bullshit. But
Okay.
Jared, I think we've discussed before. I don't like that the siblings are getting powers,
Yes.
but they're getting their powers, and that's why they're going to in-game China. So or
Fair.
in-game, I guess Chinatown, because I think they all live in one city technically.
Yeah.
You know, the next time you guys do a triple Z check-in, I want you guys to just add in a random name of a person that's not actually in the game and see if like whoever else is on the episode can actually catch it.
I don't know how you could
We're usually-
possibly catch it if you're not
Everyone on this call knows
Yeah.
how that would go.
Uh-huh.
Just pick a crazy name, make up a name generators, and see if we can catch it. Because like all the names you guys said, like they just sound so.
I mean, this patch is very Chinese oriented. So, like, all three of the new characters being added are Chinese, like, name styles.
Right.
Like, whereas, like, in any other patch, like, oh, you're getting someone, like, named, like, oh, Soldier 11 or Billy or, like, Lighter. Like, they all,
So like Guilty Gear ass names.
yeah, like, Guilty Gear ass names. Like, it is just a very theme oriented naming system
Yeah.
for this, like, upcoming patch.
And I haven't touched, HSR Honkai Star Rail, but at least with Genshin, at least, or when I did follow it, every time they did release a new chapter or a number point oh update, they did follow that really thematic for their settings where something might be, oh, this is definitely inspired by China, this one's definitely inspired by Japan, this one is more Western European. So I'm really curious, even though this has been 1 year for Zen Zone Zero, as it kind of gets up, depending on how long the game will run for and the different seasons, just how different the regions, the characters will be, and how they'll continue to kind of just explore these different aesthetics. And then eventually, when will it get to the point of, oh, I can't handle the power creep and I can't keep up with the characters being released. But until we get to that point, Matt, I'm still having fun with this game. I have to ask you, did you do the Flower event? Because I haven't really completed the story to fully appreciate it, at least.
No, I haven't done the flower event yet, but I really want to do it because Overtime Boo is
Right.
a bang boo that I really, really like.
I wish he was an S-rank Bang Boo, personally.
Yeah,
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Zone Zero 1.7 out now. Hopefully your Vivian pulls go better than mine, and if you're rolling for Jane and her engine, hopefully those pulls go better for you than they did for me. Matt, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep trying to roll for Jane's engine and hope for the best when 2.0 comes out. But I rolled a few more last night. But
do the W engine banner pulls count towards like the what do you call it? Pity on the character banners or no?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay.
Time to double check that though, but I'm pretty sure they do.
Mm-hmm.
Where since I rolled Nico's engine or her weapon, might as well at this point, and hope I'll have enough when 2.0 rolls around, or I can just beat up all the Kun again after
Mhm.
I cancel the Switch 2 pre-order.
Mm.
But until then, real quick, since we've been speaking alien languages to Rakush and Julian, Rakush, what do you think of the character archetype of new character who is obsessed to the point uh that it's borderline yandere, but still kind of genuine? How do you think about those archetypes for side characters with their who are affectionate towards the main character?
Are you asking me if I like yonder characters?
No, or just like obsessive characters who you can't, who are borderline yandere, but I wouldn't say they're
But not totally
genuinely
yandere. How do you feel about simps, Rakush?
How do I feel about Sims? You know, I'm a big fan of yearning. So
Okay.
like maybe I don't hate them. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought
Fair.
you were gonna say like I'm a big simp. So
I mean I am.
Or
Just
aren't we all?
I don't like saying that out loud. Thanks, Matt.
Mm.
Um, Julian, we saw the Elena character trailer for Street Fighter 6 coming out. What do you think of the friendship between Akuma and Elena? And do you hope that they further that friendship in Street Fighter 6?
Well, I didn't watch that trailer.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I thought she was already in the game.
Yeah, me too.
No, she's the latest. She's the final DLC character for this season, season 2 of Street Fighter 6. But yeah, since I forget which arcade ending, maybe it was for 5. I don't know. Apparently, she's really good friends with Akuma, and maybe
That's-
she's Akuma's only friend. So I think that's
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. I like that.
As someone who's like not very connected to Street Fighter lore, it seems weird to me that Akuma has a friend.
Matt, I thought you were gonna go
Uh,
a different direction with that statement.
What do you think I was gonna say, Rakush?
As someone who doesn't have many friends,
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's also like valid, but like
I'm glad you didn't go that direction because you do have many friends.
I don't know. Yeah, I've always seen Akuma as a loner, so it's weird to know that he has friends.
Was Akuma in Street Fighter 3?
In 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. I was like, how could they meet?
Was that her last appearance, Elena's?
No, she's been in. She was in 4. I'm pretty sure she was DLC for 5, and now she's DLC for 6.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with Street Fighter 6.
okay. But now that I've introduced the Capcom floodgates, real quick, boys, Monster Hunter, we have the Blossom event going on right now. Talk me out of paying $8 to make sure Alma keeps wearing her kimono.
You know, I think Matt
Her
might be.
original outfit is better, I think.
I was shocked when he said that, Matt. I really was shocked when he said that.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I think like Alma's original outfit is like very, very like really, really good.
I mean, it's a good outfit, but I feel like the weeb outfit makes her look like a manga artist, and I feel like that's a good fit for her considering how much she has a book in her hand all the time.
I don't know. I think you're just like really a weeb.
She's a weeb.
Does it
You're the one who wants her dressed up in a kimono, so
does it make thematically though? Because isn't Wilds in like you're always in a desert and stuff, right?
right now it makes sense because there is basically a cherry blossom festival in game right now, so it does fit thematically.
Where are these
Um,
cherry blossoms? You're in a desert, unless you're not in a desert. Am I?
It's
No, it's like a multiple biome like
Yeah.
region.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
the desert is like the main area, and that's what they promoted a lot. But yeah, like 4 or 5 different regions.
Okay.
I don't know. This event, it's kind of what it is. It's kind of straightforward. They added some new layers of cherry blossom animations to the hub world.
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, they've also added, kind of just a whole bunch of new armors as well. Very interestingly, I can't remember if this is like limited to the Cherry Blossom event, but if you're wearing the armor itself, the 2-piece and 4-piece bonus does give you more drops towards the Cherry Blossom items, and it gives you like an attack and defense boost that is like pretty like decent for what it is. But I don't know if that persists outside of the Blossom Dance event.
Right.
Matt, I apologize because this will be the 4th time I'm asking you this, but
Mm-hmm.
why would someone farm the cherry blossom drops? Just because I feel like through logins and just doing one or two dailies, I've already crafted the Blossom set for my character and like the Palico. Is there anything else I can exchange these tickets for, or is there something else dropping that I'm not sure of?
It kind of just depends on like what you want to build, right? Like I think if you're kind of doing the Cherry Blossom event without farming, I guess you don't need to farm. Like, yeah, you're right. If you're doing the Cherry Blossom login bonus every day, you are getting like one ticket towards like the Sakura Tide set and one ticket towards the Blossom set. And I think overall you are going to be able to, craft everything, but I don't know. I wanted to make these armors as soon as I can. And
Yeah.
personally for me, I am stocking up on the Sakura barrels because even though
Right.
I'm never gonna, really use them again, it's nice to know that I have the pink explosive barrel for if I ever want to just like show it off in the future. I mean, I think it's just like kind of unfortunate that Rakush, like me and you kind of like were talking about this when we were playing the other day, that the Blossom set is not like, as aesthetically pleasing, I think, as the Sakura Tide set.
Yeah, it looks a
Yeah.
lot like it. It looks very similar to like the Lullabarina stuff, right? Or like one of the previous. I feel like it was in a previous game. I can't remember which monster it was for.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the Melona's
That's one.
Melho
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Melha set, or the I can't remember the one that looks like you're like a butterfly type set.
That's the one. Yeah,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
that one is whatever. To be honest, I didn't even know that was gonna be a set. Like that just kind of unlocked after we killed the Lullabarinas.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Oh,
it was okay.
the sunglasses. The sunglasses are all really good.
The glasses are really good. Yeah, my
Oh,
character looks
man.
very Samurai Champloo-esque right now. The fashion hunting is
Okay.
going great. Yeah,
Yeah, fashion hunting really really got a lot for Sakura Tide, and the
fashion hunting got elevated this
Mhm.
patch. Yeah.
the sunglasses and the round fashion glasses. Oh,
Oh, phenomenal.
those are both
phenomenal.
really looks that I really like.
Round glasses are like my jam. I'm just looking for like
Mhm.
smaller round glasses nowadays. But yeah,
Mhm.
Oh man, so Monster Hunter continues to be monster hunting.
You know what? Sorry,
Uh,
one more thing. I
yeah,
think
go
this
on, go
game.
on.
I think the Sakura Tide patch broke my game
how to break your game.
because everything is fine until I go to fight Ray Dow. For some reason, when I fight Ray Dow, there's like a 60% chance my game will just crash.
That's crazy. Oh man, I hope they fix that because
That's a feature, Matt. That's a feature.
Uh-huh.
sorry, they're releasing the was it the Arch right now?
Yeah, the Arc Tempered Ray Dow in
Arc
about
Tempered,
like
yeah.
a couple days. I think by the time we release this episode, it will be out already. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm looking forward to with this current sort of patch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens there.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking forward to this Capcom collab coming at the end of May because, boys, I always need to be consuming collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds still at it. I guess real quick, apparently new Pokemon Pocket TCG set in a few days. Are you
Yes.
boys still ripping packs or?
When I remember to, like I am like maybe every other day, every like 3 days, pulling packs.
Honestly, man, like I kind of stopped back in March because what's happening right now is what I anticipated would happen when the booster packs started getting released as quickly as they were. It's
Mhm.
just not a pace that I want to keep up with for like a
Mhm.
game like that. And yeah, just wasn't feeling great about the kind of speed at which things were going there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have not opened an Iono and I just failed a Rocket Grunt winter pick and I don't want
Damn.
to play this game ever again.
Damn.
But boys, Beefy Boy episode once again, but can't end just yet while we still have some time. Rakush, I believe you're up at bat this week to challenge us.
Did you say that on purpose?
Sure. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Shout out to wait, no, I don't want to shout that out. Never mind.
What were you gonna shout? Now I'm curious. What were you gonna shout out?
Doesn't the Blue Jays have a Pokemon Go collab coming soon?
Maybe. I mean, I know the Dodgers are doing a bunch of weeby shit. Like they had One Piece night, Hatsune Miku night. Like they're all in on their Japanese market.
Wow, bearing the lead, forgetting about our Hololive sisters, Rakush,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what's
Okay.
what's the San Diego team?
Padres?
Yeah, they're collabing with Nikkei, which is also kind of weird.
What?
Yeah, there's going to be a Nikkei baseball night for, I think, when they play the Dodgers. That's going to be their collab night. So, nothing sacred anymore. Rakush, what do you think about baseball collaborating with Gooner Games?
um, I mean, listen, man, it's if it's getting in a new generation of fans, then sure,
Nikkei is a
Fair.
wild collab for like an American baseball team.
Yeah, Hololive's one thing.
Uh-huh.
Hololive, I'm not batting an eye at. Nikkei, I'm batting 1,000 eyes at
Oh,
while I
man.
pull for the Mihira altar. But Rakush,
Yes.
don't match me this week. What do you have for us?
Sorry, before we move on to that, the term "big booty Padres" just popped up in my mind, and that is now. I needed to just get that out to everybody else, so that it's not just me dying because of that. So yeah, big booty Padres.
Fair.
Thanks, Nika.
Fair.
Baseball. Fun pastime. I like it. Sports.
Sports.
But that's not that's not why this week's Don't Match Me is going to be baseball. I am actually finally at 35 years of age joining a beer league softball team next week. So
nice.
that's
Oh,
finally
nice.
after years and years of looking for people who played it, finally found a team. So looking forward to that. And I figured, why don't I do this week's Don't Match Me on baseball? Before I get into that, what is Don't Match Me? Don't Match Me is the game where I'm going to ask a series of questions, 5 total, and you guys are going to try to answer it and try not to match me. Hard mode is you're going to try not to match each other. If you're listening along, feel free to pause it to look some of these things up. The internet is always handy to us. Use it. That was a confident one, wasn't it, guys?
I'm actually floored you have a baseball one this week.
Wait, why are you floored?
I did not mean to segue. I thought my up to bat segue didn't make sense, but I'm slightly freaked out right now. Slightly freaked out right
See,
now.
I just assumed what happened is I asked Matt yesterday if I've done a baseball one before, and he said no. So I just thought before I joined the recording, he probably mentioned it to you guys. So I thought you were just playing a riff there.
oh
Rakush,
no.
all me and Matt talk about is Zenless Zone Zero and me
Right.
sending him all the Yuri TikToks that
Of course.
I'm glad he entertains.
Have you bought that $2,000 Yuri shirt yet?
Not yet.
Oh, man.
Rakush, I just pre-ordered a Switch 2. I can't be buying Yuri shirts at the moment.
See, Jared, if you cancel the Switch to if you cancel the Switch to pre-order, that's half the cost of the Yuri shirt.
Uh-huh.
Fair enough.
What you would ask, Matt? What's up?
Oh, nothing. I was just going to say, I woke up 7 minutes before we started recording this podcast. I don't have time to talk about you in that
Amazing.
7 minutes.
I mean, that's 7 minutes plenty to talk about me. What else is
Oh,
there to
man.
say about me except for Rakush? Really
No.
into sports, ain't he? Yeah.
Well,
Conversation
No.
done. 30 seconds.
no,
Baseball.
No. Mm-hmm.
All right. So listen, I know my audience here. I know you guys don't necessarily watch baseball every day. You guys might, hear about it or see some things in periphery. We all know generally that there are 9 batters in the lineup. So we're going to start with the simple one, a broad one. I want you guys to pick a number between 1 and 9 from the batting order.
Oh, man.
Just a number?
Just, between 1 and 9. All right. So in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go with the cleanup order number, the number 4 batter.
Well,
Oh no, Matt.
struck out right at the start.
I mean, listen, Matt,
That is the only role in terms of batting order that I know, so that was the one I went with.
you cannot strike out on one pitch, Matt. It's okay. It's okay. Now, if you match
I
me
mean,
2 more
in
times...
this game, you can. That is kind of the whole bit.
No, listen. We'll call it strike 1. You're no longer on a perfect game. It's okay.
Mhm.
We sometimes lose. No one's gone 162-0 in a baseball season.
I'm gonna try to strike out. I'm gonna try to match you.
So, fun fact, if you strike out, basically if you consider one strikeout as one question, in baseball, there's a term called the golden sombrero, where if you strike out 4 times in the same game, it's called the golden sombrero. Are you going to go for that, Matt?
Wait, how do you strike out 4 times? Oh, strike out 4 times. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you meant you get 4 strikes. Yes, yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt's going for the golden sombrero. Let's call this a strikeout. There we go. We're making the rules up as we go along. Jaren, what's your answer?
Honestly, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but you said 1 to 9, so I picked 6.
Okay, all right. It's an often underappreciated spot. So yeah, good one. Just like how you're underappreciated as the host of the Mistake Zone.
Debatable.
You're quite
But Julian, you're up to
underappreciated.
bat.
Julian?
I picked 5 because I was like, let's go in the middle, 4.5, but then I rounded up.
Five is
Ooh.
the good one. I feel like 5 is also underappreciated because if the number 4 guy strikes out, who's supposed to drive in all the runs, the number 5 guy responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to question number 2. Let's see if Matt can strike out here as well. Guys, there's different kinds of pitches that you can throw as a pitcher. Who else would throw the pitch? I want you guys to name a kind of pitch.
Okay.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go with the knuckleball.
Oh, yeah, strike 2, baby. Let's go. I'm not
No,
leaving.
wait.
I actually did pick the knuckleball because I think that is a very interesting pitch.
I feel like, Matt, you and I should answer at the same time for the next 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do not believe that you picked knuckleball there.
I legitimately picked, like, Rakush, I am being honest with you, I picked knuckleball because I love watching knuckleball compilations and then, what do you call it? What's the name of the, it's the kind of baseball-like sport. It's a lighter one where they have the ball that has, a bunch of holes in it.
Wiffle ball?
Yes, wiffle ball. Because I just love seeing, like, I guess it's like, yeah, like really big movement on pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the more interesting
Yeah.
pitches to throw in baseball, too. So, yeah.
Mhm,
R.I.P. Tim
mhm.
Wakefield. Shout out Ari Dickey, who was on the Jays.
Mm-hmm.
Jaren, what's your pitch?
So, luckily for me, I initially thought knuckleball, but I wasn't sure if I was confusing that with the knuckle puck. So I went with the second one that I knew for sure is a real thing, and I went with the curveball.
Curveball's a good one. Curveball's a really good one. Very tough to hit, too, but yeah. Julian, what's yours?
I wasn't aware of many pitches, so I had to like Google it, and
Mhm.
then I just realized there's like 3 different kinds of fastballs. So I was like, let's do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go with fastball.
Yeah, there's the fastball, the 2-seam fastball, there's the cutter. There's like a bunch of different variations on that. One of my favorite ones is the sinking curveball, where it's like, it's a curveball that if you play the show, you'll basically know it's like, you throw it straight, but it just basically is a parabola that like completely dips right before it hits the plate. Like, it's phenomenal. One of
Which
my favorite
fastball
pitches
is the
ever.
Sounds so
fastest?
anime.
Because like, isn't fastball supposed to infer that it's the fastest? But then there's like 4 different
Not
types.
necessarily. Fastball just infers that it's the straightest pitch, right? But like, it depends on the
okay.
person throwing, or like, it depends on the person pitching. Because there's some pitchers that will only hit 95 miles on their fastball, but then there's some guys who are typically closers will hit like 100 miles an hour, which is crazy, insane heat.
Okay.
The different kinds of fastballs is more so referring to either the grip of the pit or grip of the baseball or the movement that happens with the baseball. So a 2-seamer is if you're only holding 2 of the seams of the baseball before you throw it. 4-seam fastball is your traditional fastball, which when you throw that, you're holding basically like the seam with 4 fingers. The cutter has a little bit of movement to the side to it. So those are kind of like the main ones that I can tell. Yeah. I honestly did not expect to talk this much baseball. Thank you.
You chose a topic.
Yeah.
I don't know what you expected.
Well, I mean, I didn't expect to explain things, so that's great. Like, you guys are asking the right questions. Guys, I just got some news right now. Looks like Mr. Burns has done it. The power plant has won it. I'm referring to the Simpsons softball episode, one of the all-time single favorite episodes of mine. I don't know if all 3 of you have watched this one or not. I don't know if the listeners have watched this, because I am realizing this episode is probably like 26, 27 years old at this point, which is crazy. I am going to ask you guys to pick one of the players and the lyric associated to them from the Simpsons ballpark, or the softball episode.
The lyric.
Yes. There is, so the end credits, there's a song called Talking Softball that is a riff on an original song called Talking Baseball. And it refers to all the characters that were showing up in the
Man.
episode.
Rakush, this is a very deep cut for
Hell yeah.
Don't Match Me. I thought you were just going to say, oh, name one of the characters.
This is why I said, if you have the internet, use the internet.
So for reference, this is Homer at Bat, season
Homer
3,
at Bat,
episode
yes.
16.
Yes. All right. So in three, two, one, I'm gonna go with Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw.
No, Rakush, come on. You gotta
How
try
close?
better than not hitting me.
Oh, you got that.
That's the only name I hear I recognize.
The reason I really like that lyric, yes, it's a recognizable name, but just like it's so descriptive. Like grotesquely swollen jaw is just such a great way of doing it. Also, the fact that it rhymes with the next line, but I'm not gonna spoil that one. Jared, what's your pick?
So, man, I know I've been thinking about if we ever do a Simpsons Vault episode and just talk about our favorite episodes. Spoilers if we ever do that episode, but I honestly do think Homer at Bat is probably top five Simpsons
Yeah,
episodes to me.
yeah,
Maybe depending on the day, might be even top three if I'm like thinking about it. But if we're talking about lyrics, I think this does pop into my head every now and then. I don't remember a lot from this song, but I'll always think of the end of, I think it's the chorus or whatever, when they say, we're talking Homer, Ozzy and the Straw. So I'll
Oh yeah,
go with that line.
there we go. That's a good one, man. Also, sometimes I'll just like randomly blurt out like, "Mattingly, thought I told you to shave those sideburns," and he's got like a full mullet going as well. Oh, such a good
That's a
pick.
good goof. I also think
Such a
about
good
that scene every now and then.
There's a like one of my coworkers actually knows the episode, so sometimes I'll just walk up to him and be like, "Mattingly, thought I told you to shave those sideburns." It's a great inside joke. It's great being old, guys. We grew up with this. It's nice. Julian, what's your pick?
I originally picked the Don Mattingly because the sideburns thing is my favorite joke in that
Yeah.
episode. But looking at the lyrics, he's not really like it's just he's kind of just mentioned. So
Sure.
I switched to Rogers Clemens clucking all the while.
That's such a good one. Oh my god. So I'm gonna
Good
read.
episode. Good episode.
It's a great episode. I'm just gonna quickly read out all the options that were there because I just love all of them. So it starts with Roger Clemens clucking all the while. Mike Socha's tragic illness made us smile, while Wade Boggs lay unconscious on the barroom tile because of his argument about Pitt the Elder with Barney Gumble. That was a great one. Lord, what was it? Lord Farquhar, Pitt the Elder, I think, was the argument. Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw, Steve Sachs at his run-in with the law. We're talking Homer, Ozzy, and the Straw. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal episode. Guys, 2 more questions left. And I'm going to kind of quickly rush through these now. You're going to a baseball game. You know, based on this new series that's happening right now. Guys, what's something you would eat or drink at a ballpark?
I can think of like 4
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, there you go. There's 4 of us, plus the listeners. I'm sure they'll find some stuff. But
I'm
yeah.
not even sure if mine's right, but I'm gonna go with it.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to answer this one in 3, 2, 1. I'm actually going to go with peanuts.
Oh,
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a classic.
yeah,
That's
I
a
didn't think
classic.
of that one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Either,
Yeah,
yeah, like typically, like you're either getting peanuts or you're getting sunflower seeds at a ballpark, but it's like one of those two is typically interchangeable. I feel like it's sunflower seeds more nowadays because of peanut allergies, but yeah. Matt, what you get?
I mean, I went with like a $10 hot dog.
Yeah, yeah, overpriced hot dogs. Jaren?
I had like a joke answer, but I guess for the spirit of actually playing Don't Match Me, I went with the last thing I ate at the ballpark, which was overpriced nachos.
Yeah, that's a thing you can get there. Julian?
I'm not sure if there's an actual thing you can eat at a ballpark, but for some reason I thought of a pretzel.
You can get a pretzel.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
a thing. Good.
Yeah. I feel like anything that goes well with a beer, you
Yeah.
can probably eat, right? So like a pretzel is a good one. Honestly, I feel like there's plenty for the audience as well because we all skipped out on beer. We all skipped out on those little baseball helmets with ice cream in it. Like yeah,
Yeah, one of the
Quite a
only
few
other ones I
things.
could think of was like Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks, yeah. Popcorn.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, last question. This one a little bit broader as well, but I want you guys to pick a movie that is about baseball.
Okay. I can think of one movie about baseball.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
two.
Well, let's see if you strike out a third time here, Matt.
It'll be fourth, but yeah.
That would be your fourth. That would be the golden sombrero. Okay, let's go for this. All right.
Mhm.
In 3, actually, let's answer it together, Matt. In 3,
Yeah.
2, 1, Major League.
Angels in the Outfield. Damn.
Aw, dang.
I don't even know what that movie is, Rakush.
Major League? Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. My only two were Angels in the Outfield and Moneyball.
Yeah, Moneyball's another one, but I feel like Major League 1989 comedy starring Charlie Sheen, product of its time. I don't think it gets made in this day and age, but still an absolutely phenomenal movie. I absolutely love it. Jared, what you got?
Man, I'm disappointed because I thought for sure, not tell me if you've heard this before, but 2019, one of my favorite years of anime, where if you were to tell me that Cinderella 9 had a movie or a film adaptation, I thought it should, but it doesn't. So
Damn.
I went with the second baseball property or film that I know for sure exists, and that is League of Their Own.
League of Their Own's great. Yeah.
Also came out July 1st, 1992. Another, man, what's up with 1992 and baseball
Listen,
media?
I don't think people nowadays truly understand how huge baseball used to be prior to the lockout in the 90s. Like, and between that and the steroid era, like, I don't think people truly grasp it. Like, it absolutely owned, like, America's pastime as the moniker.
And speaking about 1992, that's when the Blue Jays won, or one of the years
That
they
is,
won.
yeah. I think that was the first of the back-to-back years. Julian, what's you're the last one. What's the answer?
I chose this one because whenever I'm sad, I look at the DVD cover for this, and it always makes me laugh. But
Oh man, is it Airbud?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I chose
Seventh inning
Airbud
fetch.
7th inning fetch.
Oh, it's so good.
The
It's so
cover
good.
is so
good name.
good. It's like him and just a raccoon, like looking at you.
Like, there was a raccoon in that movie?
Yeah, I don't know. He's the pitcher, I guess, because he has the raccoon has a baseball in his hand, so I assume he's a pitcher.
Oh man.
Also a great name. Like, Airbud franchise, really good with the play on words. Like, 7th inning stretch into 7th inning fetch. Golden retriever being golden receiver. Like, it's great. I love Airbud.
That was really good.
That's Don't Match Me for this week, guys.
Damn. I'm sad I didn't hit 4.
Yeah.
You were close, Matt. You were closer than I thought you would be.
Yeah, to be honest, same as well.
But that was a good run. But boys, another beefy boy episode in the books, and we're recording really early. So as always, I want to thank you guys for joining me, especially at this time. Especially want to thank Matt Alba for joining me this week and also editing this podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. Of course, I want to thank you, as always, for hosting. And, I don't want to thank Rakush because he's the one who made us record early, and I didn't want to wake up.
I mean, you guys could have done the episode without me.
No.
Oh.
Hey man, we're a band here, so we gotta thank Rakush for joining us this week and also bringing Don't Match Me.
I'd like to thank Airbud.
I'm always thinking Airbud.
Yeah. For no reason, just thank Airbud. Yeah.
And I'm always thanking Julian for also joining us this week once again and talking about Oblivion and Clair Obscur.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Guys, I also want to thank Persona 5 for inventing jazz so we can talk about Sinners, and I also want to thank Persona 5 for inventing the JRPG so we can talk about Clair Obscur. I want to thank Waldekun for taking beatings. He deserves it. I want to thank Choco Minto. I want to thank Nikkei. I want to thank Vivian. Matt, gotta thank Mume. Gotta thank Shion. Gotta thank Gura. And with that, please, Matt, take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of money in Jaren's wallet.
For now.